Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to get into a comment from the comment section. It's a bit salty. We got a bit of spice we're going to battle with. It's an innocent enough comment. Definitely juxtaposed to my posture, my confidence, and this person believes this game is dead. And so I want to just engage that conversation because he's not the only one. And some of you feel that way or maybe are starting to feel that way. So let's just talk about it for a little bit. My name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. And you can call me 12. Leave comments on the video and I will do my best to review them and maybe turn it into its own video. So if I see an IGN, I'll send a little thank you afterwards. So right in here, one of the first comments I see, this is a recent video where I talked about I might have to start buying again. And that was with a 5% dip on Bitcoin. And SPS was, I forget, six tenths of a penny on that day. Bitcoin's down another 3% in the last 24 hours. SPS down a little bit, maybe 10% from there, from where I saw that video. And I said in that video, like at some point, these are buys to me. And I talked about my confidence. I talked about my place of assurance, my, thoughtful analysis that I've talked about for years with respect to Splinterlands and Steam Monsters, the company, and that hasn't been shaken for any reason at all. And so if nothing has changed except the prices have gotten better, then to me, that's a buying opportunity. And I make that point in the video and I stand by that claim. Even if prices are dipping yet again, and by the way, today I pulled the trigger on a sale of some silver bullion, and that's going to give me a few $100 to tinker with. Some of it's going to charity, like I alluded to in that video. $500 Canadian is going to go to a charity that I really believe in, and that's going to help children that are, fleeing the worst kinds of exploitation. But yeah, $300 or $400, $300 I think it is Canadian, that I'm going to have from that trade. I'm going to put into SPS, I think, because that to me makes the most sense. These prices are ridiculous. I've said for a long time I want SPS. I want a million SPS. I have a $250,000 on this account, 233,000, and I have no more reason today to fear where this game might be in 5 years than I did at the tops of this game. And I say that because one, the development continues to move forward. The vision is still there. Matt and the team are still working hard. The more and more execution is happening. Funding seems to be sorted out, at least for the short time, for the time being. And I don't have any grounds for like some new revelation where some piece that I was counting on has disappeared or evaporated. And then we see comments like this from Philosopher. This will age very poorly. You're smart and must see that the game is dead. And there's replies on that. See, like I said, he's being respectful. He disagrees very strongly with me. He's not being, disrespectful or rude or in any way. So thank you for that, Philosopher. But he is, the game is dead is a black and white assertion, right? There's a 100, it's not like it's dying. It's not like it's suffering. It's not like it's in trouble. It's dead. That's objectively wrong. But then from a subjective perspective, we're being more, let's be more gracious in our interpretation. And he's really he's exaggerating, hyperbolic, but he feels strongly that it's not going to climb back into its previous highs. And that means both maybe card ownership, but also the token ownership with SPS. And I think that's possible. It's always possible because any investment remains a risk until it's executed, until it achieves its highs. But look at the following conversation. And I think that points us towards the conclusion we can draw here. Tut Cars says, when smart money buys, when they see comments such as this everywhere, meaning like it's over, it's dead. This is when you're making money, and the game is not dead. It is polished and expanded way more in the last 2 to 3 years. With time, there will be more things to do, and games and fundamentals will improve. And I totally agree. We've seen growth. We've seen development. We've seen more out of whether it's land, title issuance, tidying up of the UI, the interface, as well as Soul Keep is fun. I know it's not theirs anymore, but it's still within this space, and it's an attraction piece that came from this entity that we enjoy, which is Splinterlands. Then Philosopher comes back and he says, check this post in 6 months. I've been telling people since October, and I always get the same response as you just said above. People could have saved a lot of money if they just have their eyes open. And I want to finish my comments on this with this one idea. This idea that he's alluding to. If people had taken his advice, first of all, let's assume that you heard his advice 6 months ago in October, and you were holding a huge pile of SPS. In the last 12 months, we go back 6 months, that puts us in like January, right? Yeah, no, maybe February. So in this range, we're at 2 cents SPS. And he's saying at that moment, get out, get out, get out. It's over, it's over, it's over. A month and a half later, we're at 3 cents. So that's a 50% increase on your bag if you had been riding that wave. So there's opportunities even as we go down. That's point number one. Point number two is the idea that getting out at 2 cents saves you money when it doesn't matter where you start. You start at 3 cents, you start at 4, you start at $1. The idea that you cut your losses and save money by exiting a position. The only real way that's true is if you've got tax write-offs that you can take advantage of, because you can take a capital loss when you sell for a lower price than you bought. And maybe that makes sense for some of us because you have capital gains that you need to weigh against it, or you want to go into a lower tax bracket within your country. I think that's a very small minority of people. And so when we talk about this idea of cut your losses, I don't know that advice applies to anybody except those who truly, genuinely believe that this game is either dead or imminently about to die. And I think, Philosopher, you're among a really small minority of individuals that are carrying that torch. I really don't believe that the majority of individuals that are still remaining believe that. In fact, I see it in the comment section. I see it in Discord. I see it everywhere possible that there is a greater degree of confidence now than there was a year ago. There's a greater degree of confidence now than there was 6 months ago. Even when you were at 2 cents, even with SPS now lower than it's been before. And finally, the third point I want to raise against that is, if you sell at half a penny or at a penny or at 2 pennies or wherever you sell, and that is a loss for you, recognize that you are locking in that loss. And now you have a capital loss to maybe take advantage of from a tax perspective, but you no longer are on the ride that can potentially go up. So finally, if you believe, and you don't, Philosopher, but many people do, that this can turn around and that we can see SPS go from like 0.6 of a penny to 6 cents or 60 cents, those sorts of gains cannot be realized once you're off the train. And if you think, so the question isn't, could I have saved money by selling 6 months ago? The question is, do you think that this token will ever go up again? And why or why not? That deep and, expansive question needs to be explored for every person who has any of these assets. Because if you believe that Splinterlands is here to stay, if you believe that Steam Monsters, the company, is continuing to iterate and develop, and I would say in the middle of lack of success, because there hasn't been a great deal of success from the dollar, US dollar perspective, they are continuing to thrive, even though that's true. We're still selling millions of Rebellion packs. I know it's been slowed down greatly, but man, that there was millions sold is awesome. There was more sold than they thought would be sold. And development continues to move forward. And other tokens are doing well with Bitcoin and Ethereum. We know that a lot of the Steam Monsters company assets were held in there. So that's a conversation around continued runway. There's more confidence now, not less. And so if you believed 6 months ago, I don't know why now in this moment you wouldn't. Or if you believed a year ago, I don't know why 6 months ago that would have changed. The only thing that happened in those intervening months and weeks is there's been red candles. And yes, that sucks to endure. But the question isn't, has it gone down and how do I stem the bleeding? The question is, do you continue to believe in the future of where this could go? And if so, then you just need to patiently wait through it. And I think somebody like Philosopher would tell me, no, I don't believe in the future. And that's good. You need to thoughtfully make that decision for yourselves. But many of us feel otherwise. In fact, I would say there's a bigger base now than there was before the previous bull market. And I would love to see what somebody like Philosopher would say to that, because that means positive growth in the player base, the human player base, the amount of reach of dollars and cents that is possible here. And as other tokens appreciate, if we actually saw an altcoin run, I really believe strongly that would impact SPS, not just because a rising tide raises all boats, which is true, but also because many of us in this space have other bags. If they pump, we would move some assets into Splinterlands, as I'm about to do with respect to my silver bullion gains. So I appreciate the comment, Philosopher. I appreciate the comment. I think it was Tut Cars. And I appreciate you guys just, hanging out and, giving me conversations to unpack in this way. So I hope that was helpful. And if it was, or even if it wasn't, let me know in the comments below. Have an amazing day. God bless. Bye for now.